Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again with another short YouTube reading guide series. Today's the last video walking through the correct reading order of the Invincible comics universe by Robert Kirkman and his Skybound imprint. To create this reading guide, I've read the 252 comic issues that comprise the entire Invincible universe, including all the essential spin-offs and tie-ins. That was used to make this reading map you can see here, which is available to download for free from my website. It contains all 146 issues of Invincible, as well as the 106 spin-off issues that are all part of the same comics universe, and in fact we finished discussing all of them in our last video. In that case, you might be wondering why there is this video. Well, the reason for it is because of Wikipedia. Let me explain. When I went online to read a bit more about Invincible and the various series that tied into the main series, I kept coming across a few other names that were recommended consistently as being part of the same comics continuity, and so I read them as well. In fact, you can see here in the Wikipedia article that actually it mentions several of them, and this is the Wikipedia article about the character of Invincible. They seem like pretty legit recommendations to me, and I dug them out and I read them. In so doing, I learned that they are at best only fleetingly related to Invincible. They're not legit recommendations, but nonetheless, I wanted to share them and share that knowledge here with everyone else. If you're interested in reading them, feel free, but if you're looking at reading them purely because you're into Invincible, well, stay tuned and find out if they're actually related to it. Let's start with Bomb Queen. Bomb Queen is an American fictional comic book character created by Jimmy Robinson. She has appeared in 8 limited series and 4 single-issue specials. The Bomb Queen is a villainess who has eliminated and subsequently banned all superheroes from the fictional city of Newport City. So she rules the city as a dictator, basically. It's collected as follows. You've got Bomb Queen Volume 1, which is called Royal Flush. Bomb Queen Volume 2, called Queen of Hearts. Bomb Queen Volume 3, which is called The Good, the Bad, and the Lovely. Bomb Queen Volume 4, which is called Suicide Bomber. Volume 5 is called Divine Comedy. Volume 6 is called Oh Bomb Ah. I'm sure you can see the comedy pun there. After Volume 6, there's a sort of a trade collection that collects just all the one-shots. There's 4 one-shots in total, and this is called Gang Bang. After that, you have Volume 7, which is called The End of Hope, and then Volume 8, which is called Trump Card. As well as that, there are also 4 hardcover collections you can buy that collect all the various volumes in there. Now, Bomb Queen is meant to be linked to Invincible because, according to Wikipedia, he denies being in a relationship with her when it comes up. I can't stress enough how misleading this is. This interaction is one throwaway panel in a random issue which is never referenced before or after and has no other impact. This is the most token comic cameo I have ever seen, and there is no other Invincible connection at all. On a separate note, I will say that Bomb Queen is one of the most unusual comics I've ever read. Not because of the overt sex, violence, rape, incest, and so on. I have, after all, read all of The Crossed by Avatar Comics. But because the main character is the first one I've ever come across in comics who simply stays unequivocally evil all the way through her entire series. At no point is there even a hint of redemption for her. She's just a villain through and through, and is never shown to have even the slightest regret for all the horrific things that she does. This is pretty unusual, as all other comics that I've ever read that have an evil main character at least pull the punches or soften some of them over time to add some aspect of redemption or anti-heroing in some way. Not so here. Bomb Queen is not an anti-hero. She is a villain. She's a horrific villain all the way through from start to finish, which, if nothing else, means that it's quite an interesting thing to read, although I would advise viewer discretion when you're reading it. It's pretty hardcore. Going back to Wikipedia, next up, Wikipedia mentions Noble Causes. Noble Causes was an American comic book series created and written by Jay Faber and published by Image Comics. The series follows the lives of the Nobles, a wealthy superhero family in the Image universe, and focuses less on the Nobles fighting supervillains and more on their personal lives, running for several miniseries and a 40-issue ongoing series. This has some fleeting appearances from Invincible, most notably issues 5 and 37 of the ongoing have him on the cover and have him cameoing in the issues themselves briefly. But otherwise, it's got absolutely zero to do with Invincible. I can't stress that enough. I will highlight, however, that the Noble family includes the daughter Zephyr Noble, who you may recall from the issue of the Pact, so Pact Volume 2, Issue 4, that is collected in Invincible Trade Paperback 7. So there you go. That's our tenuous link to Invincible. Noble Causes is collected as follows. You got Volume 1 in Sickness and in Health, Volume 2, Family Secrets. There's then a one-shot called Extended Family Issue 1. You should read that here. Then there's Trade Paperback 3, Distant Relatives, and then you have the Extended Family one-shot Issue 2. And you then have a whole series of trade paperbacks, so this is now when it becomes an ongoing instead of just miniseries. So you have what is labelled as Volume 4, Blood and Water, which I think starts at Issue 1 to whatever. Then you have Volume 5, Betrayals, Volume 6, Hidden Agendas. I will point out this includes Issue 18, and Issue 18 shows the death of Captain Dynamo. That makes no sense to you right now, but will in just a minute. Then there's Volume 7, Powerless, Volume 8, Star-Crossed, Volume 9, which is called 5 Years Later, and Volume 10, which is called Ever After. If you're a big fan, you can always pick up some black and white archive collections that are a little bit like the Invincible compendiums that we mentioned back in video 1. Overall, I quite enjoyed Noble Causes. It's really more like a family soap opera drama like Days of Our Lives or Dallas than it is a superhero comic, but it's nonetheless interesting, and I am quite a big fan of Zephyr Noble as a character. Grudgingly, I didn't like her at first, but eventually started being a big fan of her. Going back to Wikipedia for the final time, we now have Dynamo 5, which is also touted as being something you should read as part of the Invincible universe. Okay, so let's look at Dynamo 5. It's a spin-off from Noble Causes, and it also explores the dynamics of a superhero family. It's again created by writer J. Faber with the talented artist Mahmoud Azra, and it ran for 25 issues and a couple of one-shots. Now, remember how I just mentioned that Volume 6 of Noble Causes shows the death of Captain Dynamo? Well, this entire series is about the repercussions of that death. So Captain Dynamo's not in it, but it's all about his kids and all his varying kids. The Dynamo family, as it were. It's collected in the following trades. So you've got Volume 1, which is called Post-Nuclear Family. That contains issues 1 to 7. Volume 2 is called Moments of Truth, issues 8 to 13. If you can find the 2008 annual, that's a one-shot which takes place just before issue 13, just in case you're reading in singles. At this point, brace yourself, I'm now going to recommend the 4-issue GEMINI miniseries, also written by J. Faber, also set in this universe. That fits in roughly here, after Volume 2. Yes, I'm now talking about a spin-off from a spin-off from a spin-off that's unrelated to the Invincible universe. But hey, if you're a completionist, that's why you're watching, right? If you're not a completionist, I honestly don't know how you found my channel. After the GEMINI 4-issue miniseries, which by the way I would recommend, we then have Dynamo 5 Volume 3, which is called Fresh Blood, containing issues 14 to 19. After that is Collection 4, which is called Change or Die, which starts off with an issue 0 and then has issues 20 to 25. That's the order to read them in. Issue 0 comes first. And finally, the final collection is Dynamo 5, Volume 5, Sins of the Father, issues 1 to 5. So this is a standalone miniseries collecting just those 5 issues, Sins of the Father 1 to 5. For what it's worth, this has a similar faint connection to Invincible. Omni-Man turns up in the final trade in the Sins of the Father miniseries and is not just a passing cameo, he actually has a speaking role. And both Mark Grayson from Invincible and the Noble family from Noble Causes feature fleetingly a couple of times. Fleetingly, though, to be honest. That said, whilst I can't recommend this as part of any sensible Invincible reading order, unless you're someone like me who obviously is obsessive and has lots of issues, I can wholeheartedly recommend it as an amazing series. Dynamo 5 is really, really good. It's, for my money, it's better than Noble Causes. And for my money, it's better and definitely much more wholesome than Bomb Queen. And I'd also recommend buying and reading GEMINI as well, because it's just great. Okay, and that, ladies, gentlemen, and others, is the end of this video guide series. Hopefully this map's been useful to you. Hopefully the physical overview of my collection was helpful. The plan is to do that in video 2, so fingers crossed I have done, otherwise I'm going to sound quite stupid. And hopefully this final 4th video of stuff that you might think you should read but actually don't need to read was helpful as well. As always, this map is available on my website for you to download free of charge. If you want to download it or print it out to follow along, please do so. It covers 252 issues. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please spread the word for these videos. That would be great. You can always follow me on Twitter, where I tend to post a one-tweet daily review of whatever it is I'm reading. And if you want to support the channel, it's easy. Head over to Amazon and pick up the first volume of my prose superhero novel, No Gods or Kings. It'll cost you less than $1. It's free if you've got Kindle Unlimited, and a free excerpt of the first book can be found on the same site as this reading map, which is nogodsorkings.com. The link is in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. I will see everyone next time when I've got something just a little bit special ready for you guys. Until next time, stay classy.